What is going on, guys, and welcome to the Yankees on Deck podcast. I'm your host, Matt Cunningham, and the Yankees were the Bronx Bombers tonight. They scored 15 runs in the middle game of this series against the first place Milwaukee Brewers. The lineup was just nuts. Every guy, 1 through 9, got on base at least once tonight. You go down the lineup. The Yankees tallied 19 hits. That's right, 19 hits, 15 runs. I mean, first time this year that they've scored over 10 runs. And, there was no other time so far to start this year where the Yankees have come even close to scoring these amount of runs in one game. I mean, you go up and down the lineup. Volpe was 2 for 4 out of the leadoff spot. Juan Soto was 1 for 3. Judge was 2 for 4 with a big home run to center field. Really needed that to try and break out of this slump. Yankees had a ton of pinch hitters too, because then the Brewers just brought in a position player because they were getting crushed. And both of those pinch hitters had hits. Taylor Trammell and Jahmai Jones. Alex Verdugo was 3 for 5 with a home run to start the game out. He had a 3-run home run. He is locked in, red hot at the plate. Stanton had a home run. It was off a position player, but look, it was off the position player Owen Miller. He's their shortstop, but look, a home run's a home run. He looked decent at the plate tonight, had a couple of hits. Rizzo, 3 for 4. Torres had a huge bases-clearing double in the third inning. I mean, that was huge. Gleyber Torres, bases-clearing double. Like we've been talking about, he's been slumping pretty hard to start this year. Coming in this game, he was hitting under 200. And the first couple at bats just were really, shaky. The Brewers, a lot of the time too, they were pitching him up in the zone, and he was having trouble getting around that fastball up in the zone, and then he comes up in the third, and they miss up in the zone right over the plate, and Gleyber Torres lines it to right center field, clears the bases, huge hit, needed that, made it 6-1 Yankees in the third inning. Austin Wells, our catcher, he had a couple hits. Cabrera had a big hit. 1 for 5. Yeah, so, I mean, everybody contributed today. It was great to see. You don't have games like this very often, but when they do happen, of course, it's a lot of fun and a relaxing game. And I was just thinking to myself, I was walking back to my room here at school, and I was just thinking about, it would just be nice if the Yankees tonight could have, like, a relaxing game, because pretty much every game, for the most part, so far this year has been high intensity, very stressful, very close. So I was kind of just hoping, especially after just the ridiculousness from the other day and my frustration with just Aaron Boone's stupid decisions the other day, I was like, it would just be nice if they could have a relaxing game today, bounce back. And they clearly did. I mean, their offense today lived up to the mantra of Bronx Bombers, that slogan phrase attributed to the Yankees and their history with all their great players, past and present. And they lived up to that today. Against a Brewers team, coming in this series is in first place. And, now they're 17-9. They're still in first place because the Cubs actually lost today to the Red Sox. I think it was 17-0. So, their crosstown rival, both teams crosstown rival, they had a high-scoring game of their own up at Fenway. But, yeah, and I mean, aside from the offense, that wasn't the only great thing today. Carlos Rodon looked the best we've ever seen him. This was easily his best start as a New York Yankee up to this date. 6 innings pitched, only gave up 2 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts. The only damage done off him was a solo home run by Rhys Hoskins, the former Phillies first baseman, now on the Brewers. He took Rodon deep in the first inning, after the Yankees were up 3-0, cut the deficit to 3-1. But after that, Rodon settled back in. He was great. Fastball, slider, curve, they were all working tonight. He got strikeouts on all those pitches. He looked great. He was really able to command the zone, fastball up in the zone when he needed to, slider down and in and away, and mix in that breaking ball as well, that curve ball, change up as well. I mean, he had the Brewers hitters off balance pretty much all game. And again, also, he didn't, Rodani has a bit of issues with the walks at times. He limited that today, only had 1 walk and only gave up 2 hits. I mean, they couldn't do anything off him other than the home run, 1 other hit beside that. And ERA now is lowered to 2.48. So props to Rodon, man, because Rodon, from all Yankee fans, including myself, the first year, he got a lot of shit, because he wasn't performing anywhere near expectations. ERA was up around 6, just bad outing after bad outing, couldn't stay healthy. And I know it's early in the season right now, but boy, what a turnaround so far. I mean, right now he looks healthy. Fastball was up to 97 tonight. I mean, I think that's the hardest we've seen it from him in a while. I don't even know how many times he's gotten up to 97, because all last year he was pretty much hurt. And then spring training, the velocity was up and down and whatnot. So it was really nice to see that fastball velocity up to 97. He looked free and easy on the mound. The ball just looked like it was coming out of his hands so smooth, especially after that first inning. Even though he gave up the solo shot, he settled back in. And then I was pretty confident, all right, like he's settling in. And then as he went a little bit deeper, he was starting to get ahead more into counts and really being able to put guys away. I think 1 inning, too, he had like 10 pitches. So he had some quick innings, some really quick, efficient innings. Really helped the Yankees out. Really helped out their bullpen, because all they had to do was go to Luke Weaver, who pitched 2 innings and was good, only gave up 1 hit, had 2 strikeouts, a walk. His ERA now lowers to 3.57. And then after that, the Yankees went to their catcher, Jose Trevino, position player, relief appearance, because, they were up 15 to 1. So they were able to make that move because the offense just went crazy today, which was fun. But Carlos Rodon was able to hold down the fort and really pitched some solid innings. Gave us 6 strong innings. Luke Weaver gave us 2, and then we handed the ball over to Trevino. He gave up a couple of runs because obviously, he's just lobbing it in there. But get to save the bullpen today. And, not to be a Debbie Downer or anything, but with today, Clay Holmes could have pitched another inning yesterday because he didn't pitch at all today. We didn't need him because the offense just went ridiculous. So, yeah, Yankees were 6 for 14 with runners in scoring position tonight. What an improvement on that. I think they only hit into 1 double play, which was by Judge, but Judge hit it on the screws. They had him shifted up the middle too. And so, 1 double play, guy hit it on the screws. What else, what else could you ask tonight from the offense? They had a ridiculous game. And obviously this doesn't become a trend or anything, but it's nice to see, especially after the inconsistencies with this offense, after the Oakland series and, the series prior to that, just up and down, up and down, up and down. And the Brewers, I don't know if I said this. My last episode, but the Brewers, they're one of the top offensive teams in baseball. They average around 5 runs a game, typically. And tonight, obviously, they just can't get it done. Only 3 runs. But they are a good hitting offensive team. They got some guys in that lineup that can hit. Their catcher, William Contreras, Sal Frelick, their outfielder and infielder. He's a speedy left-hander. Rhys Hoskins can give you some power as well. They wanted to start Gary Sanchez. We remember Gary, he's got some pop still, batting average isn't pretty at 196, but he's got some power. We remember that from him. And Ortiz too. They got this infielder by the name of Joey Ortiz, who they acquired in the Corbin Burns trade. Corbin Burns, if you're not familiar, he's an ace pitcher to the Orioles, and he was on the Brewers before this year, and the Brewers traded him to the Orioles. And in the return package, the Brewers got this infielder, second baseman, and shortstop, Joey Ortiz, who's been killing it in this series against the Yankees. Couple of home run. I think he 1 home run, but a couple of hits today. He 2 for 4, big 2-run home run the other day. So he's been swinging the bat really well in this Brewers lineup in this series. But other than that, I mean, Brewers really couldn't get it going today on offense. Carlos Rodon had them off balance all game, which was great. They were only 2 for 11 with runners in scoring position. Obviously, that mainly came against our position player, Jose Trevino, in the ninth inning. He was giving up hits because he was just lobbing it in there at 50 miles an hour. Of course, they were going to hit it. And Aaron Boone obviously wanted to save the pen because you're up 15-1. You got to let him score a few runs, whatever. These guys just go up swinging, first pitch usually, and they're going to score runs. Some of them are going to drive the ball like crazy, and then some of them are going to overswing and pop it up and get outs and whatnot. We saw it with the Yankees too. Giancarlo Stanton hit a home run off the position player for the Brewers, Owen Miller, one of their infielders. And it was so funny. The guy was afraid to throw Stanton strike because, Stanton, he crushes balls. He has some of the highest exit velocities on baseballs in MLB. I mean, he's hit balls, I think, like close to 120 miles an hour. Like he crushes baseballs. He has a lot of swing and miss, but he crushes them. So this guy was afraid to throw him a pitch over the plate, and then finally he just threw one on the outer edge. Stanton just goes the other way with it, flicks it out. But yeah, I mean, the offense, it was fun. It was fun. They hit with runners on base. The Brewers pitcher, Joe Ross, he isn't good. Coming into this game, he had a 4.05 ERA, 1-2. Now his ERA ballooned to 5.40. Joe Ross, he used to be a top pitching prospect. Came up for the Nationals, I remember, like 7-8 years ago. And he was good for a bit, but kind of, always dealt with a lot of health issues with his arm and whatnot, and really just never panned out for them. And now he's kind of bounced around a bit throughout his career. So now he's older. But, honestly, he still throws relatively hard, and the guy's been around for a long time. I just looked up at his baseball reference page. He's 30 years old. I would think he would be like a lot older than that, because I remember this guy from when I was little, coming up to the Nationals. So, he's been around for quite a bit. And, the Brewers trying to find lightning in a bottle, I guess, with him. Fastball had some good life on it, 96, 97 for him. But his main problem was kind of finding the plate a bit. He had 3 walks, did have 5 strikeouts, but then also the home run burned him a bit with Verdugo, and the Yankees were just hitting him around a bit. So gave up 7 hits, did pitch 5 innings, though. The Brewers needed some length out of him. The Brewers manager had to get some length from him because they did use their bullpen a lot the other day, like the Yankees. So they wanted some length from him. So they were going to throw him 5 innings no matter how many runs he gave up. He gave up 6 earned runs, but the Brewers didn't care. They needed 5 innings from him. So if he had given up 10 runs, it wouldn't have made a difference. They would have kept him out there until he got through 5 innings. And then the Brewers, their bullpen, got hit pretty hard a bit. They brought in a guy named Thiago Vieira. He's 31 years old. They said he played overseas last year, and he just hasn't been good so far to start this year. 7 games pitched, 5.68 ERA. The Yankees lit him up when he came in for an inning. Gave up 4 hits, 4 earned runs. Aaron Judge took him deep to center field for a 2-run homer in that 6th inning. Then Anthony Rizzo hits a 2-run home run of his own after to make it 11-1 Yankees. And yeah, I mean, the home runs came out tonight. The Yankees, starting this year, haven't hit a ton of home runs. Haven't gotten a whole lot. I mean, obviously, Judge is starting to pick it up, but considering the Judge slump and Anthony Rizzo has been up and down a bit, And then, Stan, we know what he is, streaky. And then Gleyber Torres just being, we've had a lot of guys in some slumps. So the home runs, though, the power definitely really came out tonight, which was great to see. And how about Alex Verdugo, man? I mean, he is picking it up. I mean, he's hitting like over 300 his last few games. I mean, he just looks locked in at the plate. Average now up to 274. I mean, this guy, not to judge Volpe or anything, because I think Volpe is fine at the leadoff spot. I think people are being too critical after a couple games. I mean, you got to remember, this guy was hitting well over 300 to start the year, came back down to earth a bit. Now he's at 274. But he's a prototypical leadoff hitter. I mean, he can take a lot of pitches, work walks, get on base, steal bases. Tonight for Volpe, I felt like his swing looked like it was getting a little loopy. He was getting under the ball a little bit, but he'll fix that. He'll find it out. I mean, I think he's fine. Just let him hit leadoff for now. It's literally not the most pressing issue on this team. He's gonna hit. If he starts pressing, a little bit longer, I'm talking weeks. People are going by it on a game-to-game basis. You're too quick to rush to that. Just let the guy do his thing. I think he'll be fine at the leadoff spot. And if he's not, and if he starts pressing and they think that's the cause, then they'll move him back down to 6. It's really not a big deal. I don't understand what people – and look, you got Alex Verdugo crushing it. So if the tide starts shifting more, then you could throw Alex Verdugo at leadoff and change it up. I mean, look, they changed up the lineup today. They batted Alex Verdugo clean up at number 4. I mean, Alex Verdugo never hits there. Alex Verdugo usually hits 6 or 7. But they wanted to change up the lineup today, because last game was just a disaster, and that's what they wanted to do. So they changed it up a bit. They've had Verdugo clean up at 4, and then they put Stan right below him, and then Rizzo at 6. You're usually having Stan hit cleanup, and then Rizzo is up a spot. But they wanted to change it up a little bit tonight. That's fine. That's going to happen. You're not going to have the same exact lineup every day. So, yeah, maybe there will come a point where, maybe Anthony is pressing a little bit and Verdugo is swinging a hot stick like he is right now. And they say, all right, let's try Verdugo at leadoff for a day. Because, look, DJ LeMahieu, it was the plan for him to be the leadoff hitter coming into the year. But DJ LeMahieu can't stay healthy. He's dealing with foot issues, whatever. I heard he's back on track now with his rehab, but who knows when he's going to come back. He's old, mid-30s guy. He can't run, so he's not your prototypical leadoff hitter. Even though the Yankees, that was the plan coming into the season, because Anthony Volpe had so many highs and lows last year that you couldn't trust him at leadoff, and they didn't know what they're necessarily going to get from Verdugo, even though he hit leadoff at times with Boston. So LeMahieu was the plan. But now we're almost a month into the season. Volpe, got off to a hot start. Hit a little bit of a snag these last couple of weeks, but he's starting to pick it up again. And, let's see where it goes. I mean, keep him in the leadoff spot a little bit longer. Have a little bit of patience, because if the rest of the lineup is doing their thing, you have another guy step up. It's whatever. Like, let's just have patience. Oh, I'm sorry. I misread the thing. So Volpe was 0 for 4 today. He did walk, though, so just give it a little longer. If it's a little bit longer and Verdugo keeps hitting, then you can make the switch. But I think people are too quick to rush after, like, 1 or 2 games. Volpe has a bad game. Oh, no, get him out of the leadoff spot. Come on, you're going to have this. Pump the brakes a little bit. But, and Gleyber Torres today, great look. Gleyber Torres was 3 for 6. I mean, that's huge. Hopefully he can get out of this. Gleyber Torres and Aaron Judge, they were great today. They went a combined 5 for 10. So hopefully this can be the start for them getting out of their slumps, And that's baseball. I mean, baseball is a humbling game, right? Things can change in a dime, like we've talked about. But like I've also said, all it could take is one swing to change the whole momentum. And it looked like towards he got the huge hit, double for his first hit, and then he got 2 more. I mean, it changed the whole momentum. It allowed him to relax a little bit, stop pressing as much, because Gleyber Torres has gotten a lot of crap, from Yankee fans, just people that are frustrated. It comes with the territory. It's what happens when you're in New York. And especially when you make some, some annoying errors and just bad judgment, mental mistakes like Torres has done. He's the poor hitting and the poor defense. He's taken both of those things to the field. The poor hitting has affected him in the field a bit, and then the poor fielding has affected him at the plate a little bit, and vice versa. But all it takes is one big swing, one little adjustment. Timing thing. It's all about timing. He seen the pitches he was fouling off and the pitches he was missing, and it's a timing thing, just like with Aaron Judge. So, I think the key thing is just, yesterday sucked, and it really pissed me off. And honestly, I don't want to go into much detail, or really any detail about that anymore. It's a new day. It's over. Aaron Boone, I'm always going to have my disagreements with him and have my thoughts about him. But at the end of the day, regardless of that, the whole team still needs to step up. As much as Boone's decision-making, I don't agree with a lot of what he does and a lot of head scratchers. And personally, I don't think he's a good manager. Aside from that, you still need your players to step up and produce. Aaron Boone's not the one going out there and swinging the bat or throwing 95-mile-an-hour fastballs. You still need the guys to step up and do the job. So Aaron Boone only gets so much blame, So I don't really want to talk about that anymore. I covered that extensively the other day. If anybody missed out on all that fiasco and stupid crap that happened with Boone's decision making the other day, they can go rewatch episode 30. This is episode 31. So, yeah, the Yankees needed this game. After yesterday, just a gut-wrenching loss on that walk-off and just the decision-making and all that led up to it, they needed a game like this. They definitely did. And they saved the bullpen. Didn't have to use Clay Holmes today. Didn't have to really use any of their big relievers other than Luke Weaver. Luke Weaver has been a guy who has stepped up in a multi-inning role that the Yankees have needed this year so far. He's kind of served the role that Michael King had prior to this year. Michael King, before he started last year, he was kind of the guy that would come in this, the sixth or the seventh if needed and pitch a few innings if needed, on a regular basis. And Luke Weaver has filled that role. Luke Weaver, he's gotten some velo on his fastball. He looks good. He was pounding the zone today. Control was a little bit of an issue. He walked the first batter, but then he settled down. So Luke Weaver has been that guy. Yankees needed a few innings from him today. He didn't pitch the other day, and he was able to give that. So that was great. And then the Yankees gave the ball to Jose Trevino because why not? You're up 15-1. So, unless things go absolutely haywire, then you got to get someone up in the pen, that's what you're going to do. But I was getting a little nervous. Brewers scored a few runs. They were smacking the ball around, as you'd expect, right? I honestly expected them to get a few runs, but, because the guy's throwing less than 60 miles an hour. It's batting practice. But, and that's what the Yankees did with the Brewers position player, Owen Miller, when he took the mound. But, I stress a little bit more about the Yankees than I should when they have huge leads, kind of just thinking worst case scenario. I know I shouldn't do that, but I kind of do that anyway sometimes as a fan, which yes, it's ridiculous. You can make fun of me for that if you want, but after all the crap that went on yesterday, it was a little bit more hard to relax when the team was up 15-1, if you could believe that or not. But then the Yankees were able to sub guys out. Eighth inning they took one. I think it was, or what was it? Was it the seventh inning? I think it was like seventh or eighth inning. They subbed out, their main guys. Soto, they took him out of right field, and then they took out Judge. And Taylor Trammell came in, faced the position player, and I believe it was the eighth or ninth, had a base hit. Taylor Trammell is an interesting player. He was a top prospect for Cleveland. And then he was involved in the Trevor Bauer trade, traded to the Reds. He was a top prospect over there. Big lefty bat, has a lot of power. I read over his numbers, I think, last week, but just has never really figured it out at the major league level. And he's young. He's like 25, 26. But, Yankees get him as some outfield depth insurance. And, he's mainly, corner outfielder. So that's where they put him. They put him in right to give Soto a couple innings of rest. And then, and then Judge too. They subbed him out, put Jahmai Jones in to pinch hit, and he had a base hit. So yeah, I mean, overall, good game. Very, lively game. Kind of wish this thing happened more often because it's a lot of fun when the team scores a shit ton of runs. But yeah, and I mean, now the Yankees are 18-10. They're in second place in the AL East. And if we look at the current standings, we are, I think we're like a half game out. Yeah, because Orioles are 17-9. They won today against Oakland. Somehow they lost the other day against Oakland, 3-2, because Oakland's, I don't know, they came back, and then they had to deal with the bullpen and their lights-out closer, Mason Miller, and the Orioles couldn't touch him. So that honestly made me feel a little better about splitting with Oakland. Just kind of makes you realize that, yes, you should beat up on the really terrible teams and not lose, but also realizing that baseball is baseball, and sometimes just the most crazy, unpredictable crap happens where it's like there's no way that team should be beating that team, but it happens because there's 162 games, and yes, you're going to have some crazy, stupid losses like that or upsets, as ridiculous as it is. So knowing the Orioles are going to win over 100 games, that made me feel a little bit better about the Yankees' very meh series, embarrassing series against the A's. But the Orioles won today, 7-0. They took care of business. Former Yankee J.P. Sears is on the mound, and they lit him up. And the Yankees couldn't do that. The Orioles did, though. Yeah, and then Boston won today, 17-0 against the Cubs. They had a crazy scoring game of their own. And they're 3 games out behind us. Blue Jays got crushed by the Dodgers today again. And the Rays, I don't know. What did the Rays? They were playing the White Sox. I know they lost the other day to the White Sox, who only have 5 wins. Oh, my gosh, they lost to the White Sox. So the Rays, this is how crazy baseball is. Okay, the Rays, who they're supposed to be a competitive team, but they've slumped as of recent. They lost the series against the Yankees. Then they played Detroit, and what do? They win the first. They lose that series, 2 or 3 games in Tampa, and then they go to Chicago and face the White Sox, and they lose the first 2 games, and they have a chance to get swept tomorrow. Oh, my goodness. Now, folks, know this. Coming into this series, Tampa and White Sox, the White Sox had 3 wins. They were 3-22. Just think about that. I mean, I don't know. I can't do the math. I don't know what that would project them at finishing at, but that has to be on projection to be one of the worst teams of all time. 3 wins in your first 25 games? I mean, holy cow. And then Tampa loses these first 2 games against the White Sox. And if you look at the White Sox lineup, every guy coming into the series was batting under 100. Or no, sorry, batting under 200. They were all batting like 180 and below. I mean, wow, that is crazy. Yeah, I mean, and that's baseball. Like, as crazy as that is, I mean, Rays fans have a right to be livid, but it's just nuts. Like, you just think about that. Just how it's nuts how the Yankees split a series with Oakland. And as pissed off and embarrassing that is, it's like, it still happened. It's just kind of hard to fathom. Yeah, that's nuts. But Yankees got to keep the foot on the gas, though. They really got to take the series tomorrow. They should be up 2-0 in the series. They really should have won yesterday's game. I'm not going to complain anymore about that, but that kind of sucks, given today what they're able to do offensively, and starting pitching wise. So tomorrow, Marcus Stroman gets the ball. Okay. His last start against Oakland, Marcus Stroman wasn't sharp, 5.1, 5 and a third, gave up 7 hits, 3 earned runs, but kept the team in the game. 1 walk. He did have 9 strikeouts, though. I remember that was last week. It was cold out. It was kind of rainy, and they were saying the cold kind of affected his pitches because Marcus Stroman, he's like a very big movement pitch guy. His pitches have a lot of movement. Pulling up his baseball savant page, he throws a lot of pitches. He throws 6 different pitches: sinker, cutter, slider, slurve, split finger, four seamer. And he heavily relies on his sinker, which he throws the most, 42.4% of the time. And then his cutter throws 17.3% of the time. And it was tough for him. Last outing, they were saying, because it was cold, damp, and so he wasn't, they said, like the grip. He wasn't getting as good of a grip on his, his sinker and cutter and slider, and then he mixes in the slurve and split finger too. He doesn't throw a lot of fastballs. Marcus Stroman, he's never been really an overpowering guy. He can run the fastball up to, 95 occasionally, but he sits usually more like 92, 93, and then he just throws a ton of these different pitches: sinker, cutter, slider, slurve, really keeping the hitters off balance, and that's why he gets a lot of ground balls. He really utilizes that sinker to get a lot of heavy ground balls. He's a big ground ball pitcher. But, the A's last time they were getting him in the air a little bit just because he wasn't really getting any movement on those key pitches of his. And when that happens, it's not good. That, if he's giving up a lot of fly balls, his pitchers aren't working as well. So you hope, tomorrow, I don't know what the weather conditions are like in Milwaukee. I know they had the roof closed today, but you hope tomorrow he can bounce back. And then for the Brewers, they have Tobias Myers going for them. He's young, 25 years old. I'm looking at his page here. He's 0-1, has a 1.8 ERA, pitched 1 game this year, 5 innings pitched, 4 strikeouts. That was on last week on the 23rd against Pittsburgh. Gave up 1 earned run. Okay, not bad, but, I mean, Pittsburgh isn't really that good or anything, so I don't really know a lot about him. He's young, 25, 6'1", 217. Okay. So I don't know what we're going to get from this kid. This guy's a young guy for the Brewers. Hopefully the Yankees can smack him around. And then after tomorrow, the Yankees then go to Baltimore for 4 games, and that's really not feeling good about that at all, if I'm being honest. Baltimore, it's not an easy environment to play in. Obviously, if you're the road team coming off, an Orioles team that hasn't been swept or lost a series within like the last year and a half. So, granting all that, that makes me pretty worried. The Orioles are no joke. Just the lineup, the young talent they have, it's nuts. If you're not familiar with the Orioles and the plethora of talent at the major league level for them right now, between Adley Rutschman, Gunnar Henderson, Colton Cowser, They got multiple guys on that team that could run for an MVP this year, mainly like Gunnar Henderson. And multiple guys on that team that could win batting titles, and Colton Cowser, or Rookie of the Year. Colton Cowser, Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman, Jordan Westberg. I mean, they just have so many nasty players on that team. And it's nuts because they honestly don't even have room for all of them. They're all incredibly good, and it's really hard to find a spot for them because there's so many of them. And they got more coming in the minor leagues. Heston Kjerstad, Jackson Holliday, the number one prospect in baseball, who they just actually sent back down because he was struggling, but he's 20 years old. He's going to be fine. They'll call him back up probably at some point, maybe, later this year if he works on some things. But yeah, I mean, they're scary, man. They're nuts, and they tanked for a lot of years to get to where they are now. So now they're no joke. Now they're here to stay for a long ass time. At least like the next probably 5-6 years, if I had to guess. So, yeah, and they got new ownership. Cal Ripken's a part of that group as well. And their new ownership, they acquired Corbin Burns, who, if you're not know, he, like I said, he used to be on the Brewers. Proud of this year. He's the best pitcher in baseball with Garrett Cole out. He's the lead of the elite. Like if Garrett Cole, obviously Garrett Cole's hurt, but last year, you had Garrett Cole winning the AL Cy Young. Corbin Burns was right there behind Garrett Cole in terms of just best pitchers in baseball. I mean, I think he was ranked like third best pitcher, I think, because Spencer Strider, I think, is above him. But he's right there in the top 5. He's not far behind Cole in terms of elite stuff, just an elite starting pitcher. Can give you, 6-7 innings without a doubt every start. So I don't know if we're gonna have to face him though. I don't know when he pitched. Oh wait, he pitched the other day against Oakland, so I don't think we'll have to face him. Oh, thank goodness. I don't think we're gonna see him. Hoping not. Wait. Oh shit, we might actually, because we have Milwaukee tomorrow. Yeah, we're gonna see him. Damn it. It'll be late in the series though. Not gonna be early. Because he had off today, so that's 1, 2. We'll see him like third game, probably. So, okay. Because 5 days rest, I mean, that's how you got to calculate it. So, yeah, I think that'll do it for this episode. I don't know if there's anything else to cover. Defense was pretty clean. Yankees had no errors today. The Brewers had an error. Rhys Hoskins couldn't field the ball. One of the middle innings that the Yankees actually, were able to capitalize, extend the inning, first and second, and were able to tally some more runs on the board. So that really hurt the Brewers because they could have got out of that inning, and Rhys Hoskins just couldn't field a little dribbler ball that he should have turned for a double play. And yeah, so I mean, overall, great day. Also, another positive thing too, Austin Wells. I know we haven't gotten much production from our catchers. Jose Trevino's actually been swinging a hot stick as of late. He got the batting average up around 270, but Austin Wells, who's our younger catcher, 23 years old, he got to start today, lefty power bat. He hit a couple balls hard today, and he was able to get a couple hits. So I'm hopeful that he's going to get out of this slump soon. Batting average now at 159. I mean, look, when I went to the game last week, it was like 080 something. So, got a couple hits together today, 7 hits and 44 at bats, but they actually pulled up a stat because that's atrocious, right? 159. And the fact that he was at like under 100 last week, I was like, oh my gosh, like this guy just can't do anything right now. But I saw a stat. I don't know if it was Yes Network or MLB, something like that. And they were showing just like his hard hit percentage. And he is one of the most unlucky hitters in Major League Baseball right now. They were saying the number of balls that he's barreled up this year, like at least a dozen of his outs. They were saying they were hit so hard. They were saying like for most guys, like the balls he hit in terms of like his exit velocity, they were saying was over 90 miles an hour. They were saying like at least like 7 or 8 of those usually are hits. So yes, the guy hasn't been good. You look at the stat sheet, it's terrible. But a lot of hits. He's hit a lot of balls he's hit on the screws that should have been hits. And then tonight too, he had one ball that he hit the center that he just missed for a home run. So take it that way you will. I think he's going to get out of it soon. And he got a couple hits today. And the key thing with Wells is the strikeouts. If he can cut down on the strikeouts, chasing out of the zone, that's going to be the key thing for him. I don't want him to go back to the minor leagues, and I don't think he will because he's the backup catcher. Like, worst comes to worst, he's just – I kind of rumored that. Like, oh, what if he keeps struggling like this? Will they send him back down? But, like, who else are the Yankees going to call up? They really don't have anybody else at catcher right now that they could call up and say, yeah, we're going to play that guy over Wells. I mean, worst comes to worst, he's just going to play less. But his barrel percentage last year was 14%. So far this year, it's down a tick, 12.5%, but that's still not bad. His sweet spot percentage is actually up this year, 43.8%. Last year was 33.3%. Yeah, so he's barreling pitches up. He's not getting as much result. His K percentage last year was 18.7%. This year, right now, it's at 17.3%, which, all right, he cut it down a little bit from last year, but you want to cut that down more. At 17%, that's you want to cut that down a bit. He is walking more, though, so yeah, I mean, he just watching his at bats, he's got to work on the plate discipline. So, and actually, he had a good throw. Speaking of catchers, right? The crazy thing, our catchers have not been able to throw anybody out. I don't know what's going on. Like, Jose Trevino has like a jelly arm back there, and Austin Wells, his defense has to improve behind the plate. He can call a decent game, but in terms of the defense, he's got to improve. He's getting better though. Blocking and all that. Framing, actually, they rate him really high here, 94 percentile on Baseball Savant, but his pop time's not good. Not the Yankees' pop times for catchers are really particularly good. So, that's something they got to work on. And that's a big contributor why they can't throw guys out so far this year. But he actually did almost pick a guy off at second base today. And, his pop time, which is pop time if you don't know, it's how quick you release the ball, once you catch it behind the plate and then throw it to second base, first, whatever. It's how quick does that happen, in seconds? So his pop time's 1.98. I don't know what the average MLB pop time. What's the average? I mean, him and Jose Trevino are just struggling in that department. Oh, average MLB pop. Oh, well, that's Wikipedia. I don't think that's right. Oh, okay. Well, it's saying here JT Real Muto 2018 was 1.90, and it's saying Wells is 1.98. Okay, that's not terrible. So it's really just Trevino. But I don't know why both of them, they haven't thrown any guys out this year, I don't think. Or maybe they threw out one guy. But at every other attempt, they haven't been able to throw guys out. But Wells today, he was catching and he tried to pick this guy off second. He almost got him. He freaking threw a dart there. It was quick, too. I was like, oh, damn. We're going to need that. Our Brewers yesterday were running on us like crazy off Luis Hill because our catchers can't throw anybody out. So they're going to take advantage of that. So that's got to get better. But at least we had no errors today. That's a good thing. Defense has been playing it more clean these last few games. I know yesterday Oswaldo Cabrera had an error, but ball took a bad hop, third base. I don't care. It wasn't that bad. So, yeah, I mean, there you have it. The Yankees are able to take the middle game of this 3-game set against Milwaukee. Milwaukee's, like I said, good team, first place team. And they're still in first place because the Cubs got blown out tonight by the Red Sox, 17-0. So now the Brewers are 17-9, and they're a half game up in first in the NL Central. So yeah, this team's not a joke. The Brewers are very good. Glad we were able to take this middle game, but we got to take the series tomorrow. Simple as that. We're gonna have Marcus Stroman on the ball. Get the ball. So hopefully he can induce a lot of ground balls, a lot of weak contact, because that's Marcus Stroman's specialty. Did have a lot of strikeouts his last start, but he was facing Oakland. They stink, and he got hit around a little bit, gave up more fly balls than he needed to, and some home runs. He got burned on that a little bit. So look for him to have a bounce back start, hopefully, against the Milwaukee lineup that we said coming in the series is pretty darn good. Averaged 5 runs a game. And they were good yesterday. Today they weren't as good. They had an off day today against Carlos Rodon. But their lineup up and down, not a ton of huge names, but guys, young guys especially, that have been able to contribute to this lineup. Such as Sal Frelick, Willie Adames, the veteran, Rhys Hoskins, this guy Blake Perkins, who actually they said used to be in the Yankees minor league system. He's 27 years old. He's off to a good start, hitting .299 start this year, 3 home runs, 67 ABs. They got some young guys that have been swinging the stick a bit. So, Yankees just got to come out. And, look, I don't expect them to score 15 runs again tomorrow like they did tonight. But if they could, if this offense can continue heating up, put some quality runs on the board tomorrow, back up Marcus Stroman, I got a good feeling. But again, hopefully this carries over tomorrow because, look, the offense has been very up and down to start the year. And look, it's only April. You're going to have ups and downs. Yesterday's was just an incredibly frustrating loss, and you're going to have that. Hopefully they can just keep up the momentum. Baseball's a very hot and cold game, so hopefully they can keep up this momentum and take the series tomorrow. And then you head to Baltimore, and you just hope that they can split maybe with Baltimore. If they could split with Baltimore, I'd be thrilled. If they could take this series tomorrow and then split it with Baltimore, I'd be thrilled. Do I expect that to happen? Not necessarily, but they can do that, I'd be thrilled. So that'll conclude it for this latest episode of the Yankees on Deck podcast. And I want to thank you guys for tuning in. If you could like, subscribe, wherever you're listening to, whether it's Spotify, Apple, Amazon, YouTube. Really appreciate it. All the listens, all the likes. Appreciate you guys. Hope you guys have a great Saturday evening, and I will see you tomorrow. Let's go Yankees.